who was like God here. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Andrew Tate is a guy, he's pretty big in the red pill manosphere community. Now, I agree with a lot of what he says, and with the red pill guys as a whole, it's like Ruslan's assessment is pretty spot on. That these guys, when they talk about some of the problems in the West and hypocrisies of modern women, I think they're spot on. Now, don't agree with everything they say. At the end of the day, I'm a Christian, so I don't believe in sex before marriage, all that stuff. And that's what we're going to be getting into today because I'm a Christian and I'm a follower of Jesus. I got to practice the standard that I preach, or else I'm going to be a hypocrite. Now, Andrew Tate, he's a very successful guy. I think he's got a stake in like 4 casinos. I believe he's the world's top prize fighter. All this type of stuff. He's jacked too. He's very materially successful. He's in great physical shape with our respect. All that stuff. So he's doing really well for himself. And he was going on. And He was talking about Christianity versus Islam, and I think it was very interesting and insightful. And I'm gonna tell you, I wasn't mad at it. So I'm gonna go play what he said. Now I'm gonna give you my response.
Yeah, it's actually amazing how, in many ways, like you're saying, Jesus is one part of it, but in many ways, obviously, there's key differences, but in many ways, there's a lot of similarities, and it's kind of funny
Yeah.
to me. Whereas Christianity in the modern world has become such a laughing stock, and it has been because people don't practice it in any kind of strict way anymore, really. And people say, "Oh, Islam's so strict," and I say, "Look, a lot of the rules of Islam are also in the Bible. You're a Christian who's never read it. Like you've never read your own Bible. You don't know what your own rules are. So it's amazing how similar a lot of the tenets of the two religions are. It's just Islam and Muslims are the last people who take it seriously and practice it in a way it should be practiced and respect it. And that's why I think I first kind of went viral in the Islamic world when I said, look, I have so much respect for Muslims as a whole and the way they view their faith and how seriously they take it. I don't understand why you have these girls who call themselves Christians and they're drinking on Saturday night, meeting boys, doing whatever, and then going to church on the next day. I don't, that doesn't feel real to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, y'all hear what he said? Yeah, dude is on point. He's right. He had a few gems in there. I'm gonna give you my opinion from a biblical perspective. Yeah, man, what he said is completely right. The problem is Christians, we're called to be the church. That means we're the spiritual temple of God. That is to say, we're here to represent God on earth until the Lord returns. And we should be, when there's problems going on, we should come in and give God's stance on it or the biblical stance on it. We shouldn't shy away from problems going on, which I see happening a lot, especially with these controversial things or these taboo things. They don't really want to speak about it because that's just, you don't want to fan the flames when it's controversial, but you got to be willing to do that stuff, yo. And that's what it is. So Christians got to be willing to have Christians got to grow some balls, man. That's just what it is. A lot of us need to. So that's why I want to make this video, because it's a genuine time of reflection for the church. And I do believe there's a genuine remnant in the church, meaning genuine believers, because there's a whole bunch of people who will use the term Christian or Catholic, but they don't actually follow what the Bible says. And, God doesn't rock with that. You gotta follow, you gotta practice what you preach, or else you make a hypocrisy of yourself. So I'm not saying we get involved in partisan politics to the point where we're just fighting with each other, because in my opinion, that's all part of the trap to get us to divide and be like, this Democrat versus Republican. But look objectively at the stuff that's going on and give the biblical perspective on it and do what we can as God's representatives on earth, helping make the world a better place while we can until Jesus comes back. Do something. Don't just sit on the back burner. Don't bow down to Baal and all this type of stuff. So this is a secular millionaire saying this, and I really appreciate it because I think it's a great time of reflection and a warning to the church that, hey, we got to be doing better, man. We can't, God hates empty ritual when there's nothing there. We can see that even in the Old Testament with the people of Israel. So, yeah, on the money. And then at the end, he was talking about the girls. He was right, man, because I mean, obviously, it's not just girls. There are guys who do it too, who call themselves Christians and don't follow it. And yeah, normally I don't do these types of videos, but I should be, especially if I'm practicing when I'm preaching here, giving commentaries and biblical perspectives on real world things. But I digress. You got to follow the standard that you proclaim. So, again, if you couldn't tell, this video is not for little kids, maybe teenagers and up, as a genuine reflection for the church. Guys shouldn't be calling themselves Christian and then be getting head. That's making a hypocrite of yourself. And girls, wilding out, twerking, and all this crazy stuff, Monday through Saturday, and then on Sunday they go on church, maybe do a couple Hail Marys, and then they think it's over. That's not right. I'm not trying to call out Catholics solely, but it's a human problem. We make such fools of ourselves where, a secular millionaire, well, maybe I shouldn't say secular, but, outside people look and they see the church as a laughingstock because of so many people that don't practice what they preach. And we got to fix that. If we're going to be the salt of the earth, if we're going to be representing Jesus, we got to practice what we preach. That's the moral of the story. So I thank you all for watching this. God, I pray this can be a blessing and, inward reflection for people who call themselves Christians. And yeah, man, God bless you. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, everybody. One thing I forgot to mention at the time was, well, this ultimately shows that Christians, it's a reflection that we got to be acting better to everyone who calls himself as a Christian. We got to practice what we preach. But I wanted to say that although that is very true, when I pray that this can be a blessing to everyone who sees it in that regard, I could never advocate people convert to Islam because, let me try to get a better lighting. All right, that's pretty good. Because, no, I don't believe Islam is true. All respect to Muslims, you shouldn't just go believe something without knowing there's a reason to believe it, or believe something if it's not true. So, look beyond all the hypocrisy and all the bad Christians and look at Jesus himself. Jesus himself was a perfect man, a very holy and righteous man. But if you actually look at the case for the resurrection is legitimate. Because the disciple, for example, one thing, the disciples genuinely believed that Jesus resurrected from the dead. And they're willing to die for that first-hand testimony of Jesus' resurrection. So that in itself doesn't prove Jesus rose, but it proved that they were serious about it, that it wasn't just something they were making up for ha-has, which is incredibly unrealistic to think. Plus, there's other manuscript evidence about the reliability of the New Testament. Then we get into the whole thing of Hebrew prophecy. We look at the Old Testament, and we look at a bunch of prophecies and see that they feel like a glove with Jesus' life. And not just that they feel like a glove with Jesus' life, but only Jesus. And this is from a lens of objectivity, not with a Christian bias, but saying, this is what the prophet spoke, and this, that, and the other happened objectively in the world because of Jesus Christ. There's a whole lot of stuff. There's a book that goes into it, The Case for Christ, that we can intellectually believe that Jesus is legitimate. He legitimately rose from the dead. We can't say the same about Muhammad, who came 6 centuries later with claiming some new revelation. So, yeah, that's what it is, man. Muslims, a lot of Muslims are very observant and obedient to their faith, which I respect. That's a model for how Christians should be. We're the genuine representatives of God, the church. We should be acting the way that a lot of Muslims do with their faith. Jesus legitimately rose from the dead. We should act like it. All right, God bless you all. I'll see you in the next one.